Beardo Banjo.
Hello everyone and welcome to episode 2 of my YouTube tricks and tips to grow an audience and your channel series. It's not a very catchy title and I would very much welcome some better suggestions. So this series is really for the smaller YouTubers, the smaller content creators who are maybe stuck in a rut, can't grow their audience, or haven't jumped in yet and are thinking about jumping in to start content creation but are just a little bit daunted by the prospect. This is for those people. If you're a YouTuber with thousands and thousands of subscribers, you've probably already cracked it and these videos won't be for you. You might still learn something, but I doubt you will. I'm only a small YouTuber myself, so these points are really for those other small YouTubers. Now I did just say this is part 2, so if you're here and you haven't watched part 1, what the hell are you doing? Please go and watch part 1. You don't just skip to episode 2 of a TV show because then you haven't got a clue what's going on. Where's the context? Who are the characters? Don't do it, it's madness. Honestly, please do go and watch that first episode before watching this one. I can't control what you do, but the first episode I think had some fantastic tips in it about being relevant and on topic within the content you want to create, but just honing in and staying relevant and making content that can build you an audience, at least to start with, before you start jumping into your passion projects. I won't go into it now, but please click the link, have a look at that video, because honestly I think it's got stuff in there that can really help people that are starting out. So today's episode is about something completely different. Today's episode is about creating a brand, creating an image, general housekeeping for your channel that will make you far more clickable and far more appealing when you're scrolling through lists of thousands and thousands of people doing the exact same thing. So today's episode is about branding and creating an image. Okay, now you might be thinking, branding? That's insane. That's for TV shows and movies and things that get advertisement. You're right, you're not wrong, but your channel is a form of something that can be branded. It's a form of entertainment. You have to start looking at YouTube as the modern day's TV. I have a TV, but it's not connected to terrestrial TV. I don't have a TV license because I don't watch conventional TV. My entertainment comes from Netflix and YouTube. That's pretty much it, and that's the way it has been for quite a while for a lot of people. Don't get me wrong, there's still people out there that watch normal TV and terrestrial TV and Freeview and Sky and all that stuff, but I think people are starting to lean more towards YouTube and Netflix being the main sources of entertainment. And if you're going to put yourself out onto that platform, you have to treat it as a little bit like the TV, a little bit like a world of entertainment that you need to break into. Why should people come and watch your show rather than watching someone else's show when it's all there and it's all available at the very same time? That's where branding comes in. That's where trying to make your image as consistent as possible, to try and burrow into people's head, to try and get them to see a certain font or see a certain color scheme or see a certain thumbnail and instantly think, ah, that's Beardo Benjo. You need to get that kind of hook into your audience and into the people that want to watch your content. It's not a trick, but it's just something that's existed forever. It's advertisement. So let me throw an example at you real quick. Imagine you're sitting there and you're scrolling through your TV. You've got your clicker in one hand and you're looking through the TV guide. Your guide's up and you're checking what's on. It's tons and tons of programs, just endless amounts of programs. And then you see The Simpsons. The Simpsons is going to be on a channel coming up quite soon. Immediately, as soon as you see that, if you are familiar with The Simpsons, as many people are, you'll initially and instantly be able to picture the font. You'll probably hear the theme song. You'll know all the main characters. You'll be able to see them in your head. You'll probably know the voices for the main characters. You'll know what channel it airs on, because it's a established brand. So The Simpsons have been pushing and building a brand over years, and now without even having to do any work, if I say The Simpsons, you'll be able to associate all the key triggers and pieces of kind of visual representation that you would connect to The Simpsons. Brand your content so that people have to just see one little thing and it triggers them to think about your stuff. Make sense? Let's show you some real world examples. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Now, the coolest thing, in my personal opinion, about YouTube is you are in complete control of everything you put on this channel. Everything you put in this space is yours and yours to dictate. So bearing that in mind, you can make some great decisions and you can make some bad decisions. Now, you could argue that nothing is a bad decision because it's your content. Do what you want. But in terms of branding and in terms of trying to make an audience or retain an audience, there are things that you can do which are better than other things that you can do. So here we are on my page. Now, my page didn't look like this until recently. I've just taken it upon myself to do a little bit more work around my branding. Now, the first thing you probably notice, having clicked on this video and be watching this video right now, is that my banner up here, my logo, and obviously the thumbnail for this particular video here, all match a certain color theme, font theme, and imagery theme. And you'll probably also realize that during this video, my intro card uses the same color scheme, font scheme, image scheme, and even my little splash title card for this episode, same font scheme, same color scheme. Now, that isn't an accident. That is me trying to create my own style of brand and my own image for my channel. I personally have made that conscious choice to keep everything the same color and use the same font going forward. Now, I didn't do that before. For the longest time, I wish I had an example here for you. My banner was like some trees and it said Beardo Benjo in the middle. It didn't look bad, but it didn't it wasn't consistent with anything else I was doing. It looked a little bit horror, and I started out making horror content. That's the only reason I picked it. It was a little bit horror. My profile picture was just a picture of my face. Hadn't done anything to it, just a picture of my face. Nothing wrong with that. Genuinely nothing wrong with that, but it didn't really link into the way anything else looked. And my thumbnails, goddamn my thumbnails. My thumbnails weren't telling a story at the start. I'll jump over and show you an example of that in a second. But right now, if you land on my page, so if you land on my page as a new visitor, so you're brand new, you've never been to my page before, everything is fairly consistent. There is a clear-cut color scheme. This lime green is feeding through. It's kind of here on my font. It's here in my banner. It's here in my logo. This image is going to start to appear all over the place because it's now my logo. I'm going to push that as my branding. And my thumbnails look a certain way. One of the best compliments I've got since making YouTube videos was from an in real life friend, an IRL friend, and he said to me, I always know when you put a video out, before even looking at it, if I see a thumbnail, I can tell it's one of your videos because you've got a certain style and a certain brand. They all look a certain way. And I took that compliment and ran with it because it's the coolest thing anyone can say about your content is that your stuff, your content, the stuff you're putting out is instantly recognizable. That's so important because for people that are looking for your content, it's going to help you to stand out in that stream of other people's content. None of my titles say Beardo Benjo. They don't say that. So the only thing giving away the fact that they're me is the style of my thumbnails. Now, I do appear in my thumbnails. I tend to put myself in them and I tend to put the placement in a certain place. Now, let me just do a little bit of thumbnail talking while I'm on that subject. So here's my thumbnails. Here's my videos. Here's the content I create. Now, they don't all look exactly the same, but they have a theme. I tend to use the exact same font on every video. Now, I've started to rebrand a little bit. Most of the stuff I do, I'm using this new font. It's the same one I use on my dashboard in my banner, and it's the same one I've been using on these how to grow on YouTube videos. That is the font I'm going to push going forward because it will start to connect with people. People will start to understand that that font is associated with my channel. And that's what you want to do. You want to get to a point where people will associate small things with your channel because it allows them to hone in and see your content above anybody else when they're on that search feed. When they're scrolling through the stuff, your stuff will jump out at them because they can identify certain elements. Having a consistent font sounds like something that isn't important, but I promise you it is because it will start to build a brand. So the font I've been using in my thumbnails for a little while is this font here. I can't remember the name of it, but it's this font up here where it says A Quiet Place 2. And I've used that for a little while. It's on all of my Will It VR videos. Here it is, Will It VR, Vorpex gameplay. Same font again, but in bold. I tend to use the same fonts. Sounds so simple, but it honestly has an impact because it just brings everything you do together. Now, I'm not the best example of it because I've not been consistent from the start, but it's a learning curve. Try things. Don't be afraid to try things. I'll show you something now. If I scroll right back to when I very first started on YouTube, you'll see that my thumbnails have come a long way. I didn't have myself on them. I didn't really have much information, and there's nothing wrong with not putting yourself on the thumbnail. I'm not saying you have to do that, but I think it just having that running theme through all of your thumbnails, whether that be a picture of yourself, the same font, the same logo in a certain corner of the screen, of the thumbnail, all that stuff is really important. I didn't have it when I started out, so the very first video I ever did was about Visage, and it was just a screen grab of Visage wallpaper with episode 1 and the title of the series. Now, that title of the series means nothing to anyone that hasn't watched my series. It doesn't really mean much to me. I just made a series, called it something, chucked it on a thumbnail and wanted people to click on it. Now that got quite a few views, but that was really built from my friends and family because it's the first video I put out. I think that's fair to say. Having a title for your series isn't a bad thing, but it has to mean something. I'm not really telling anybody anything with Daytime Spooks. Someone's not going to click on that because it says Daytime Spooks. It's not established, it's not a brand. I would have been better off having Visage Playthrough Episode 1, jump scares, and then a picture of me in the corner or something like that. That's going to be more eye-catching because it's things people can understand and realise without any prior knowledge. They're not great to look at. They don't jump out at you. If you saw that on a search screen mixed in with tons of other people playing this same content, why would you click it? Why would you click it? You wouldn't. They don't look appetizing. They don't look appealing. They're not even particularly colourful. And then you jump forward to the stuff I'm doing now. You can just see the difference straight away. I've pulled my branding together. I've tightened them up. I'm using the same fonts. The placement for my words and my pictures are all the same. So if I'm on it, I tend to be down there in the right-hand corner. I tend to have a subscribe logo in the bottom left corner now. I tend to use the same fonts, and I tend to have the same stylistic choices across all of my thumbnails and all of my branding on my channel. It is so important. It isn't going to give you an immediate impact like the relevance piece I spoke about in the first episode, but in the long run, it's going to do you a world of good. Now, thumbnails, your banner, and your icon aren't the only way to brand your video. I touched upon it a minute ago, but having an intro is super important. I made videos without intros, and I will continue to make videos without intros, but having just a 5-second boom, this is me, you're watching one of my videos, something that ties your brand together, goes a long way, in my personal opinion. I've seen intros to many videos that go on for quite a long time. I've seen videos have intros that are kind of, you're sitting there 20, 30 seconds going, okay, when's the content going to start? So I think really trying to keep it 10 seconds or less is fantastic. If you can create a little intro that's just consistent with the color scheme, consistent with the font, consistent with your imagery, just before every one of your videos, people just kind of start to associate with you, just like the Simpsons theme song. You hear that, you think of the Simpsons. You want to kind of have a little jingle or a little kind of piece of visual representation that people see and go, oh, that's Beardo Benjo. Oh, that's so-and-so. It's all about building a brand, and it's all about bringing all the tools in your tool belt together to make everything consistent. There's many ways you can do it, but in my opinion, building a brand is best done with your logo, your little icon on YouTube, your banner, your thumbnails, an intro and an outro card. My outro card isn't fantastic. I built it to the wrong sizes, but I'm keeping the same color scheme, I'm keeping the same intro images, and I'm keeping the same fonts. So it all ties everything together. My product looks like a product I've made, and you can identify it instantly via those few key things, even subconsciously. Now, there are other little things you can do within YouTube's content creator studio dashboard that can kind of help your branding. One of the things is hidden away. A lot of the features are quite hidden away. So if you go to YouTube Studio and you change it to Creator Studio Classic, so the old school style Creator Studio, you get this little drop down across the side that lets you see your videos, lets you see live streaming, community, etc, etc, etc. But it does have this channel tab here, and if you click the channel tab and go to branding, it allows you to put a branding watermark on all of your videos. Now, I always have it. It's a little picture of me in the bottom corner. It says subscribe, and it just sits in the bottom right of all my videos. You may never have even noticed it's there, but it's there on all of my videos, and it gives people an opportunity to just click that little picture while they're watching a video if they enjoy it to subscribe. Now, I appreciate there is a subscribe button just there as well on YouTube, but having this, again, it's just another way to bring all of your content back round into one consistent brand. Now, another tool that people don't really discuss or isn't really known about is your channel tags and your channel keywords. Again, this is hidden away. It's quite difficult to find if you don't know where to look for it. Same thing again, Creator Studio Classic in the channel tab under Advanced. You'll get to this screen here, and it's where you can change your profile picture as well. But here under channel keywords, you can add keywords to your channel that help impact your search result dependent on the content you create. So for me, I've just started making YouTube tip videos. So I put in here a couple of keywords. YouTube tips, how to grow fast on YouTube, the kind of stuff that I'm doing at the moment. Will It VR is there because I have the Will It VR series. Vorpex, really important. Paunch, my most watched video, 20,000 views. I have to put that in my channel key tag because that's the biggest video I've made. Let's Play, horror games, itch.io, jump scares, VR, etc, etc, etc. They're all things I create, so they're there in my keywords for my channel. Again, this all works towards keeping a consistent brand. If you know the content you want to make, tie it all together and have it all in one neat little package so people can start to associate a look and a style and a sound with your particular brand and your particular content. Now, hopefully all that made sense and wasn't too rambly. The point I'm trying to convey is it's important to have a through narrative in terms of your images, your fonts, your color schemes throughout your channel, because as a species, we're very good at retaining information and associating that information with something else. It's just the way we're hardwired. So you want people to see a certain color scheme, a certain font, and associate that with your channel. See a certain style of thumbnail, associate it with your channel. Whew. Feels like I spoke for a long time on that one. Feels like I had a lot of information to dump out. I'm sure I repeated myself multiple times, so I'll cut that out in editing and get it as slick as physically possible for you. I just want to recap and just kind of emphasize a few things. Creating a brand is entirely within your control. You can do whatever you want with the appearance of your channel and the appearance of your thumbnails. But there is a genuine importance in trying to tie all of it together into a theme and into a style that connects back to your channel overall. Because you want people to be able to look at something, identify it as yours, and then click on it because they've seen your content in the past and enjoyed it. You can make one great video and it gets 50,000 views, but that doesn't mean anything if people don't click on your next video and your next video and your next video. And one of the best ways to get them to do that is to make your content look consistent and bring people back in just by looking at something going, oh, that's that guy that made that other content. Because they might not have clicked subscribe that first time. So you need to bring them back round again. Could you maybe refresh your color scheme? Could you maybe refresh your thumbnails? Do you need a new profile picture? Are the fonts kind of, you've got Comic Sans here, and then you've got Times New Roman, and then and it's all a little bit disjointed. Have a look at it. What could you do to bring together a brand and bring together a image? It's all about image. And it's important because when people click on it, for one, it looks professional, and two, you start to ingrain a look and an image into people's minds that they're going to associate with your content. It's very important, and it can take a little while to get the grip of it, and I'm still getting to grips with it now, but I'm starting to find my groove and starting to really create content that all looks a certain way and sounds a certain way because it's been made by me. If you haven't already, please drop me a subscribe. Please leave a like and drop me a comment. I always respond to comments. I'll always have a conversation with you down below, so please drop a comment down there. And if you didn't already, if you were naughty and you skipped the first episode, you should go and watch it now because honestly, I think it is useful and it was very useful to me, so hopefully it helps you out there to get yourself started on YouTube. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you again next time. Take care of yourselves and good luck out there. Take care.